Yes, people, welcome back to Process. Today we're joined by yet another guest. Today we're joined by personal trainer Sean Evans. Welcome to the podcast, mate.
Cheers. Thanks for having me on.
No worries, mate. So, just to start off with, obviously we kind of know of each other from the local area and stuff like that, but I'd like to learn a little bit about yourself. So, for anybody as well who doesn't know who you are on the podcast, what do you do, and kind of what's your backstory starting from maybe back when you were at school? How did you kind of develop a passion for fitness?
So I'm Sean Evans. I'm from like the local area around Hayden Bridge as well. So I'm around Prudhoe area, so not far from Hexham. It's just pretty much in the middle of nowhere. So I don't really get to see many people, as you probably know yourself.
Out in the sticks, everyone thinks we're weird from where we're from. We're weirdos.
But apart from that, like, where do I start? So, is it school that you wanna start with? Is it?
Yeah, we'll start off talking about school. So
yeah,
kind of, you might not have had an interest in sport. A lot of people that I've spoken to, kind of, especially in the personal training world, they always kind of start off with that interest in sport, and then it goes naturally. But some people go down different paths. So it'd be interesting to hear your story.
Yeah, so I've been to a few schools. I've been all over the place. Like the first, like where we live, it's like first school, middle school, high school. Like we don't get like the primary and second school. So I started off in 3 first schools. Got bullied in all 3 of them, and went into middle school, which is down Uppingham. That was more like a sporty school, and that's when I kind of started getting into sport. Funny enough, it was tennis. I used to be like a little rake. Like I used to be very, very, very skinny back in the day.
Yeah.
And then I went up to high school in Prudhoe, and they were all my schools there. So it was like 5 schools in total when it should have been 3. But yeah, I've had a decent childhood, but obviously I've had quite a hard childhood as well, just by like just the way I was. I wasn't very confident. Didn't know really what I was kind of like here for. You know what I mean? So tennis was like my first ever like kind of freedom of how I was, because obviously I got bullied quite a lot in school. So I started doing that like 4 or 5 hours in the night time. And then I got scouted, which came out of nowhere. I didn't get coached at all for I was 2 years of just solid training every single night. And and then just a random coach came up to us saying like, look, do you want to get some sessions and stuff? And I was just like, well, at the moment I'm just having a good time. Like I'm just having a good time with like the lads down at the tennis court, but apparently this lad saw like good potential in me. So cracked on with that, and then I had like a sit down with him. This was when I was about 16, 17, I think it was. And he sat us down saying, look, we've got really good potential if you want to start coaching. So I was like, why not? And yeah, he actually did it for free. So that kind of brought me in. I was like, you know what it is? Like, what the heck? Why not? And this is when I was doing my GCSEs, like my GCSEs as well. So obviously I was studying hard for them, and then tennis as well. So pretty much my life was going to school and then go and play tennis for like 4 or 5 hours on a night time for about 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I just lost my passion for it. Like I wasn't happy with with my body confidence, because I got to the point, obviously I didn't know what a calorie was back then. I didn't have a clue how to eat properly. I was just eating when I was hungry, and then I was playing 4 or 5 hours playing tennis. And then got to high school, and that's when things changed. My mates got us into a gym, and that's when I fell in love with it. And then kind of progressed from there. But obviously I'll talk more about that when we
No, it's interesting, because obviously, like I said, the first time we spoke, but going back to, if you don't mind talking about it, you kind of bullying. What was the kind of bullying over? Like, I know what it's like being in school. Like, to be fair, I was similar. I was never really a big kind of like well-built lad. I was always tall, but it was always the people with small man syndrome that you always used to pick on me kind of thing. But like, I didn't really feel like I had the confidence to stand up for myself, even though I was like a few inches taller than everybody else. I had that like feeling where like I went in my shell sort of thing. So it'd be interesting to kind of talk about what the bullying was about, and kind of how you dealt with it yourself.
I was just weird, man. Like I was just like, thinking back to it, I was a proper weirdo. Like I didn't know how to present myself around people, and then obviously that awkwardness, people kind of, and I just said stupid stuff. Do you know what I mean? That I thought I was trying to blend in, but obviously people noticed that, and they were like, what's this kid saying? Like, you know, and all of a sudden, obviously, like the way I kind of presented myself, like dress wise as well, like he didn't have a decent haircut. Like at least she just had a bowl cut. Like I'll send you the picture later on, but like,
Yeah.
oh
I'll
man,
stick it in as the picture on the podcast. That'll just be showing that it was
God.
BT.
Clickbait, huh? But no, like obviously just the way I dressed and stuff like that, and the way I came across, like people just, I wasn't cool enough to like blend in with the crowd. You know what I mean? So yeah, and I think it was a sport that kind of got me more. It was kind of like I was just more happy doing that than I was in the classroom. Because if I'll be honest with you, I wasn't that good at school. I didn't enjoy it. I didn't have any interest at all sitting in a classroom for an hour, a teacher kind of just going through loads of crap. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, it was like sports. I did athletics and tennis. They were like my two main sports. And obviously, I had a bit of like footy and stuff on a Sunday with like a couple of the lads as well. And then from there, that's when I just started getting more confident in myself, just like being around more people. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think there's probably a lot of like, if there's young lads listening, obviously I don't know how young the youngest person who listens to my podcast is, but being like, even yourself saying that you're a bit of a weirdo, like being a bit more of an outcast is probably the best way to put it. Like,
Yeah.
it's hard, like, even when you get older, like, there's times where I felt like I've always been an outcast. Maybe it's because like, a lot of the time I was in town with football, and obviously there is a difference between kind of townies and us country lot. Like, even now, my friendship groups are completely different. Like my friendship groups in town compared to here, so there's a different mindset, I think, and a different kind of confidence in a sense that we're kind of keep ourselves to ourselves. And I think especially when you're a young lad and you feel like you're left out and stuff, you do try and pretend to be someone that you're not, which isn't probably the best way to go about it. The thing is, you learn that down the line, don't you, to kind of come out your shell and be yourself. But it takes time for that to actually happen. And it's fine saying to someone, go and be yourself, but they're not naturally going to do that.
I think it's a lot harder nowadays as well, because obviously I'm not talking about like 15 years ago. I only left school about 6 years ago, but obviously social media wasn't that big around then. But now it's huge, and I think the younger lads are now getting pushed into like presenting themselves on social media as well as in person as well. Obviously 100%. Back then social media, like I wasn't really into it. Obviously, you remember Instagram, how you had like the white border around you, like around your pictures. Like it was so bad. But yeah, so you haven't got the worry of, I mean, you do have the worry, of present yourself in person, but obviously social media is affecting a lot of people mentally as well, which a lot of my Instagram posts is obviously around like the mentality of just being yourself and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think definitely sorry, what were you saying?
No, I'm saying it's definitely harder now than it is like when we were in school.
100%, because I think even like when we were at school, if you got bullied, it was kind of like you were just bullied at school and that was it then, and then you kind of you weren't getting it at home kind of thing. You could kind of, like you said, you had your tennis and stuff, which is something to talk about as well, having that sport to kind of switch off and zone out and just get into like you've probably heard of it, the flow state, where you're literally not thinking about anything. It's kind of, that's there for you. But like I was saying, back to the point, nowadays you're probably getting bullied at school. You go home, you look on Instagram or Snapchat or Instagram and Facebook, you're going to get bullied on there as well. There's going to be maybe pictures of you or comments and stuff like that. So I do feel for like, I think we were probably like the last generation that missed out on that sort of thing. Like I'm looking at my cousins and that growing up now who are a few years younger than me, and they're all on this social media. They almost get this extra pressure to look good on there. So I see a lot of young people now wearing designer clothes, which I never used to have. Like girls wearing makeup. Like girls in my year never used to wear makeup until like 16, if that, probably even maybe a bit older. So there is that pressure's been built up, I think, just through social media and what the world's like these days. So I know we probably had it slightly easier, but in a sense, we'll come and talk about your kind of tennis and your other sports to kind of get your mind off things. But I think a lot of kids these days as well don't really do that as much because they're kind of so stuck on Xbox, on the phone, so that they don't get out and about, and they maybe don't do stuff like that as well. I think that's another topic to talk about. But go back to yourself. We'll come back to that side of it. When did you kind of flip that switch and kind of start building your confidence up to kind of become the person that you kind of are today, which is obviously, you can tell you're a lot more confident in yourself?
It was definitely the gym. I feel like I saw more changes in myself going to the gym than I did playing tennis. Obviously, it's the progression in tennis I think is really good, but I feel like it's dying out in a way, but back then it was kind of like a big thing to kind of go into. Obviously with like the big ones like Andy Murray and all that kind of stuff. Like obviously I want to look up to them, but I was like, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? And plus the coach that I had was just constantly pressuring me like all the time, and I didn't really want that. And then I lost interest in that sport just because of that reason. I like being on my own and just doing my own thing. And then so obviously it was confidence wise, obviously a couple of my mates who I stayed close with in high school, they actually got me into a leisure centre. The first few sessions were absolutely mint, and then as I said, I just fell in love with it, and then I actually got my membership because it was like a month free that I remember. And then once that was done, it was like 30 quid for the year. But at that time, I got myself a job in retail, which was JD Sports and Leisure Centre. So obviously that got, obviously I was a lot more confident as well because I was talking to more and more people. I was talking to a wider range of people as well there because you have all sorts going on there. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, you get a quite a funny bunch of people going to JD.
That's the top
like,
of a podcast.
But yeah, so I was there for 4 years as well as doing like the gym and stuff. And I feel like thinking back now, like I thought I was absolutely huge back then because obviously every lad, they go into the gym, don't they? The first month they think like the very Ronnie Coleman. Like
they get a pump and that's it, they're massive.
Walking through the door sideways and stuff like that. But yeah, so obviously I just stuck with that, and then I got more. Then actually the manager at JD was really into like bodybuilding stuff as well, so I got more talking to him, and then we went to the gym and stuff and whatnot, and then he was talking to me about nutrition, and that's when I started realizing like the basics of the stuff. So obviously when I was playing tennis, I didn't really know much about nutrition, like I said before. But I think with the gym, I think nutrition's a lot different than you are just playing tennis. So I looked into that, and then I went on these managers course on JD and stuff, and I thought I was going to then progress like with the future with that company. And then same again, I just didn't like I couldn't see the future in that company. Like I feel like I don't like working for anybody. So that's when I started looking into like, you know what it is, I love the gym. Like, what can I do? And then a PT came up to me and was like, look, I've been on this course. Why don't you just do a course? And then I looked into it, and it was the price of the courses, man. Like, they were so expensive. Obviously I was only working in retail, so like the money wasn't great, do you know what I mean? So like you're talking about nearly 1,500 to 2 grand for this course, and I was like, there's absolutely no chance. So like I held it off, and then obviously I'm getting older and older and older and older, and I was like, what am I doing with my life here? So I was a bit of a rut, so I didn't know what to do, and I'm not the type of person who like asks my parents for money or asks anyone for money. Like everything that I've had, I've just kind of used my own money for. But obviously, it was just forking out that £1,500 to £2,000 for a PT course that might not have even got us a job at the end of it. You know what I mean? So it was just the thought, and I feel like there was the risk of taking the course as well. So I'll go through how I got into the course. So basically, I left JD Sports as well. I decided one day I was on a 1 till 10 shift, and I was like, no, it is. Nah, don't like this. I left after my break, had my dinner, left. And I was like, I'm sorry, but I just can't be here anymore. Went straight over the road to Starbucks. Right, this is actually quite a funny story. So I went from JD to the drive-through Starbucks next to the Leisure Centre, and I was like, "Look, can I have a job?" Literally on that same day, because this is where I used to go all the time. Like, and then I used to get on with the staff, and then the manager was like, "Look, here's a form. Go and fill it out." And filled it out next day, filled it in, and she got us a job. So from leaving JD Sports, I wasn't working at Starbucks the next day.
It's not bad. That's not bad going.
Yeah, and then throughout that time I was looking for, so I was with a girlfriend at the time, and she helped me with like a covering letter for this big stocks and shares finance company. I don't know if I'm like blabbering on here a bit, but
no, mate, keep going. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
The idea. But so I was applying for this finance job and eventually got that. So obviously I did the whole interview stage and stuff and went there. And then this was an apprenticeship, so it was a 2-year apprenticeship. Managed to steal that. This was like an office job, 9 to 5. So I went from hating this retail job, working with people, to another job, working with people, and then I went to another job, working with people. So I just didn't know. I just didn't have a clue what I wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? But I feel like this apprenticeship allowed me to get another qualification. So that's what I thought about it. So what went through my head is, as I was working at Starbucks, I applied for this job. Whilst I was waiting back, I was kind of just earning a bit of cash. You know what I mean? Saving up for my money for this PT course. So I was in the finance job And then about a year down the line, I saved up enough money to actually fork out this PT course. And yeah, so from there it was very, very hectic. So I knew exactly what I wanted to do. Basically my days were, it was in Durham, so it wasn't online course, which was quite good. So I went all the way to Durham on a Saturday, so it didn't interfere with my Monday to my Friday job. So obviously I stuck in really hard with that, and then went to this course. It was only for one day, and then the rest of it was all me. I don't know about yourself. Did you do the online course?
Mine was online. So luckily, the way that my course worked was I was still at Newcastle playing football full time, and I was injured. So there was a new online course literally just setting up, and I was the first I was like the test dummy pretty much. So I was pretty fortunate. So obviously it was all online, and then I would go and do my assessments on whichever day I kind of done it that sort of way. But it was pretty much all online, all e-learning, and then I'd do the exams in person sort of thing.
Yeah. I feel like online's good. Obviously, if you can't get, like, there's not many companies allow you to actually come in and have a classroom and do all this stuff. I was really lucky. And it was actually the girlfriend at the time that did my covering letter. And obviously we split up and whatnot. And then it was actually her dad was like, look, I know a mate that's literally just opened up a gym, and he's passed all these qualifications to be a teacher for this Active IQ, I think it was. I got in touch with him, but I went to a few companies. I was kind of like, had my head switched on, so I was asking them a lot of questions, and I feel like a lot of the responses were just like they didn't have a clue how to sell this course, which obviously I wasn't going to pay this much money for them just to get some commission. Do you know what I mean? Like I really wanted to. I was kind of using my brain and asking them the questions instead of asking me the questions. But obviously, I'm paying a lot of money. Obviously, I've worked hard for it as well. So eventually, I went over to this company. I think it was Result Fitness in Durham. And I went in, had a face-to-face talk, and I was like, he was asking for PTs. It wasn't so much the theory side. I think anyone can pass a theory course on a theory test on a PT course. Like it's like GCSE biology. I think like it's pretty easy. But it was the physical side of it. So he wanted PTs to actually how to come across your client. Do you know what I mean? And how to approach them, how to talk to them properly. And I really liked that. So I was like, sign me up. So, but what was good is he did monthly installments. It was only £1,000 for this course as well, because it was the first block that he was offering. I was like, spot on. So it was a 12-week, and then it split up like £250 each month, which was quite good. So it was very affordable. So I was doing that, and then obviously I had my 9-to-5 job as well, which I was doing a pretty hectic qualification for that. Like it was really stressful. So basically my days were 9 to 5 and then going to Starbucks at night time, doing 2-hour shift there as well. And then straight after that, I was studying for my PT course as well. So obviously I was studying for my finance degree, then working in Starbucks, and then doing my studying for my qualification for my PT as well. That was obviously for 12 weeks. I didn't really have a life at all for 12 weeks then. It was, to be fair, thinking back now, I don't know how I did it. Like pretty much working 3 jobs. And then I got to the point, obviously I qualified. I got all my logo designs done 2 weeks before I qualified. Got my social media out there. Obviously I posted a lot of videos when I was in the gym anyway, so people kind of knew I was into fitness. I kept it really quiet. I didn't tell anybody about my doing this PT course either. And then as soon as I put this logo out, people were like, whoa, like, where's this, like, you know, so yeah, then I've actually eventually picked up a few clients before I even got into a gym. And funny enough, I actually started in Sculpt. I don't know if you didn't know that.
I've seen a few, like an old picture or something. I've seen you in Sculpt, so I was like, oh, did you start there? Yeah.
So I was only there for like 3 or 4 months. Managed to pick up a few clients there, but then obviously my job, like thinking back, mate, I don't know how I did it, but like I was working 6 till 8 a.m, having to take 2 clients in the morning, jumping straight in the shower, driving straight over the town, parking up, getting there for like 9 o'clock, then do my 9 till 5, and I'll be back over the gym, getting a shower, eating my lunch, and then having about 2 or 3 clients on night time as well as train. That was me for it.
What was your training looking like at that time? Was it just short and sharp, get in, get out?
So like I've got my best mate who you probably see on Instagram. Like he helped me out like massively. He came out of his way. He came down. And obviously I had something to train with there as well. This was like 10 o'clock at night. Obviously I had my own keys there, so it was really like it was good. And Adam, obviously, you know, the owner of
Yeah.
Sculp, he was like, look, knock your salad, just obviously tidy up before you leave. And I got all my videos, my photos done by my best mate, so he did all that for me. Obviously I edit and stuff, he just took the photos. And then, but I feel like the training was mostly just like maintaining. Like I couldn't progress from it because I was just absolutely shattered. You know what I mean? So I didn't get out of Sculp till about 11:30 at night, and then I was up again at like 4:30, 5 o'clock to then go back to Sculp to have like 2 or 3 people in the morning. But yeah, so like I don't know. I honestly don't know how I did it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how long did you maintain that for? Would you say it was like 3 to 4 months, probably, or maybe longer than that? Did you maintain that sort of sleeping schedule, training clients and stuff?
Yeah, so obviously, like I didn't have loads of clients. I had about 4 at the time. But obviously,
Hmm.
then 4 would train me 3 or 4 times a week. So it wasn't every single day with me. It was like every other day that I was waking up at like 4 to get there. So it wasn't like
Hmm.
constant. And then obviously in a weekend, like I wasn't at work, so it wasn't too bad. But I feel like from Monday to Thursday, it was fine. And like the Thursday morning, Friday, I just hit a wall. And then
Yeah.
here's me going to this finance company. You have to do meetings and stuff. And I was like, I was a walking zombie. I was living off coffees and that, like 5 or 6 coffees a day.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was pretty hectic.
I feel like a lot of people need to go through them sort of times though, because it kind of
Yeah,
like it teaches you a lot of lessons. And like going back to your point,
yeah,
like when you first talked about leaving JD, going to Starbucks, you didn't know what you wanted to do. Like I think a lot of
yeah.
people are probably scared to do that because
It's the
they might be
risk.
the type of
Yeah,
person that there might be people who are in your position and they might still be at JD in 5, 10 years time, thinking like, oh, I should do this. Oh, I should do this. Then when you were just like one day. Like it does sometimes take that one day that's really bad just to go, you know what, fuck this, I'm off. I'm doing something else, like
yeah,
what I really want to do.
yeah,
Then you try something else, you try Starbucks, you try this, that, and the other, you try different things, and then you'll
yeah,
find something. And then when you find that something, like your example, you'll make it work, even if you've got a 9 to 5 job and you're in the gym at 11:30
yeah,
at night, like you will find
yeah.
that thing. And once it's addictive in a way, which is probably one of the main things that kept you going and kept it kind of going
I
to the
feel like
point now.
I feel, I feel like if you enjoy what you do, you're gonna do anything you can to kind of get into that, like to where
Yeah.
you want to be. I feel like if there's any young lads listening, like you're young, like you're probably still living at home and stuff like that. Like do it. You know what I mean? You haven't got anything to pay for or nothing. So like if
Yeah.
you don't like the job that you're in, just leave. You know what I
Exactly. It's
mean?
not
Like,
the end of the world, like, is it?
uh,
There's plenty of
um,
them like jobs to just keep you going. Like I think it's always good to start with to kind of do the crappy jobs and the crappy hours, which like I wish as a young lad, like talking about like going sidetracked, like talking about young footballers, I feel like I missed out on that a lot because I literally went from school to full-time football. I never really had to do them like crappy little jobs on like working in a pub, pulling pints or like
yeah,
working at Starbucks. I feel like I missed out on that, and it took me until I was like 20. How old would I mean? 22 to actually get a quote unquote proper job because that was when I kind of stopped full time football, and it was a big like well, what's this? What's these 8 hour shifts?
yeah,
What's these 13 hour shifts? I don't know what's happening here. Normally it was just like get up, go to training, train, go in the gym in the afternoon, chill at night time. That was it. So I think like bringing it back to the point, like just try different things and having that kind of that job just to keep you going, just like to get even if it's like a few hundred quid just in a
yeah,
month. When you're young, like you don't need to pay for rent, you don't need to pay for mortgages, bills, whatever, and then
yeah,
just try different things. Just as long as you've got that little bit of income to like have a life in a sense, that's all you really need. But try different things, and what you've done is a perfect example.
yeah.
So moving forward after obviously you were at Sculpt, I know you moved on gyms after that. What kind of happened from there?
Yeah. What from school to him
Yeah, from
or
school when you were still doing from when you were still doing your 9 to 5 job, and then obviously training your 4 or 5 clients as well.
yeah. So it was a couple of people who left Sculpt who now went to this place called Hamer. Obviously, I've followed them and I've seen the videos that they're putting out and stuff as well. And it was more close to like my office where I was working.
Mm-hmm.
It was just very easy because I feel like a lot of my clients couldn't really get to Sculpt because a lot of them like didn't really drive, and I feel like where it was pretty difficult. So I was kind of getting more into the location of where this new place is, and it was more beneficial for them. Like, it wasn't really so much for me. Like, Sculpt was a really good place to train myself. You know what I mean? It was really good. But for my clients, it was a bit of a pain for them because they had to like get off. The nearest bus station was up at like, what's that place above Sculpt?
I know what you mean, but I don't know. But it's because it's close to
Aye,
like
but it
an
was,
industrial estate, like not industrial estate, but industrial park sort of
yeah,
thing. So it's a bit over to get to for
yeah.
buses and stuff.
But yeah, and I feel like I just wasn't. I wasn't a fit in Sculpt. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't, because obviously I was that busy. I couldn't really like mingle with them. Do you know what I mean? I feel like I was kind of in and out, in and out, in and out. And obviously they were going nights out and stuff, and I wasn't really like invited in a way. But it was just because I just didn't really even say like hello to them. Do you know what I mean? I was in
Yeah.
and out, in and out. And yeah, so I kind of had to leave. But I was thinking a few people left, just I think for the same kind of reason. I think so. But yeah, I think the place that I'm at now, like, people there are great. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's fantastic. Like, it's obviously my clients are liking it because no one's heard of it. That's what I like about it. Do you know what I mean? So it's very private for them. Yeah,
It looks like a very decent set. To be fair, I've seen a few pictures and stuff like that of it. It looks a
yeah,
very good setup. So how's your kind of client base progressed from then? So obviously having the 4 or 5 clients moving over. What kind of ways did you find best in terms of picking up clients? Was it word of mouth? Was it like social media and stuff, or what kind of helped you build up?
It was definitely social media because I feel like a lot of PTs start out in a like commercial. I don't know if you did you start in a commercial gym? No.
Technically, yeah. I've only been in one gym. I've started personal training since I literally started in December. So
Oh,
I haven't been doing it very
yeah.
long.
Alright.
I've had an Instagram account for like a year maybe,
Yeah.
but I only
Yeah.
started in November or
Right. Oh,
December.
right.
I know, not long.
Yeah. I definitely think like 90% of like new PTs start in a commercial gym because they get paid as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, well, some gyms do, or you have to like work so many hours to pay your rent or whatever. But I feel like it's easy for them obviously they can approach more people because you get walk-ins all the time. I feel like if you're good with marketing, like with your social media and stuff, it's kind of 6 and 2 threes. And I think social media is even bigger than people coming in. So you're gonna address yourself more to more and more people on social media. That's what I thought. Obviously, I had my best mate. He was good with the camera. Obviously, I've taught him how to use the camera and whatnot. And I feel like it's a 6 and 2 threes. Like, either you're good at social media or you go into a commercial gym and you do it like the old-fashioned way and do it face to face. Obviously, I chose to go into a private gym because I didn't have time to go into a commercial gym. Like, the only time I can go in is at 10 o'clock at night and have the keys to myself. You know what I mean? Like, I couldn't do it. So time went on, and I finally qualified. It was like 2 years, but I did it in 18 months. This qualification, got my certificate, I sat down my desk like a week later, and I was like, "What am I still doing here?" I was like, I had a big decision to make. Spoke with the parents and whatnot, and kind of got their opinion if I wanted to go self-employed or have a stable job in a way. Do you know what I mean? So I had a big decision, and obviously they were like, "Just go for it." Like, you know, like, what you got to lose? And I was like, yeah. So obviously I still have the clients that I have now. So went in the next day and I was like, look, cheers for your time, but I was like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. Like,
What was that reaction like from them?
To be fair, because basically, like, with the apprenticeship, what happened was every 2 weeks I had like an interview with my tutor. Like Northrop Uni used to come to the office every 2 weeks and just have a catch up of how I was doing and whatnot. And my manager at this company was like, "How's your PT going? Like, how's that?" Every single time he was asking me about it. He knew I wanted to do this. Do you know what I mean? So when I said to him, he was like, we're kind of waiting for this. You know what I mean? Like, we weren't expecting you to stay on or nothing. So
yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty emotional because everyone there, I got on with it. Like, I got everyone from there, but it wasn't like my age. They were all like 30 and above. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but I had the attitude going in. Like, I was the only fitness one there. Like, everyone, like, who works in office, like, they're just kind of.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much about them, but like, you know what I mean.
Lovely people. I know.
Yeah, but obviously I was the only one that was going into a gym and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? So they were like, just go away. You're young. Like, just go and do your PT. So it was kind of them as well that kind of got me like the decision as well to leave. So when I left, and I was like, I went from being really busy to then like, do you know what I mean? Like having like 8 hours spare in the day to do anything. But then them 8 hours were hours when I started pushing my social media a lot. So yeah, obviously I was quite sneaky at this finance company because I was doing like programs at work on their computer, like on my dinner breaks, and like sneakily doing it after like an email or something. So
Yeah.
I don't know. To be
You
fair, I don't
make,
know how I didn't get stuff on
I know. They must have liked you.
that.
That's the thing, though. You make it work. You briefly touched about your parents there. Were they a big influence on kind of you going down that self-employed personal trainer and pushing your passions? Where they always kind of backing you and supporting you?
Yeah, they definitely didn't want me to stay on this finance company because I wasn't very happy at all. I feel
Yeah.
like once same with any like job that you stay with, as soon as you get comfortable, you
Oh,
haven't got that risk. Like you don't get that push to go anywhere. So I think my
uh-huh.
parents helped me in a way, like pushing me out of that to then start doing stuff myself. And I think it's helped me in a way. So
Yeah. It's weird how like you mentioned it there. Once you get comfortable, that's like that's when you need to kind
yeah,
of you need to move on. It is because you always kind of strive for something, and then when you get to that something, there's always that something else that you need to do. Like
yeah,
especially when you kind of have that like you're addicted to something that you loved. There's never like right once I get 10 clients, I'm gonna be happy. You get the 10 clients, right? I want 20. Once you get the 20, like I want to keep on
yeah,
pushing, kind of thing. Like if you're in
yeah,
something, you get that kind of feeling. You know you're in the right thing. Whereas like you see a lot of people that do their 9 to 5 jobs and they're just kind of happy. They might get a little pay rise every so often, but
yeah,
like I think it depends on what type of personality you have. Not to say 9 to 5s aren't great for some people. They probably suit people a lot because they are a little bit more secure and stuff. And depends on your
yeah.
personality, like I said. But it is a lot. I
I found
won't
there
say
was
it's a lot
no,
tougher. Wrong what you say.
yeah. I feel like there was no progression in that company either. And I was like, I think a lot of people there were like, for like 25 years, they were doing exactly the same job. I was just like, how are they doing this? Like they go 9 or 5, go home, come back for the next day for 25 years. I was like,
Yeah,
no, that's just not me at all. It's like even when I was at JD, like I went on like supervisor courses, I went on the managers courses for that, just because I wanted to like as soon as I'm in something, like I may stay there for like a month, and I'm like, well, I'm not happy. Like I want to do something else now.
yeah.
I feel like I want to just progress constantly, and I feel like with that company, even if I did progress, it was going from like foundation to like top level. Like there was no in between. So
Uh-huh.
it was pretty hard to get to where I wanted to be in that company, where like the money was and stuff. So
Yeah.
that was another thing that pushed me away from it. I was like, what's the point of being here if there's no progression?
Mhm. Yeah, I think
So
that's
yeah,
that's what kind of like brings people into the self-employed world, that constant like progression. Because whatever you, as hard as you
yeah,
work, that's how hard you're gonna get, kind of thing. It's a never-ending progression in a sense. But oh, I had a point in my head, then it's completely gone. But one thing I wanted to ask you was actually your Grenade sponsorship, because they have the nicest tasting protein bars in the world, and I can't believe you're sponsored by them. Do you want to talk about how that kind of came around?
came absolutely out of nowhere, mate. To be honest with you, like I was just literally walking to Hamer from my like 6 a.m. client. I got an email off them saying, "Hi, Sean. We've been looking through your Instagram for the past like 2 or 3 weeks. Would you be interested in coming down to a pop-up store and we'll have a chat?" And I
Yeah.
look and I was like, I didn't reply for like 2 or 3 days. I was like, what? Like this is just spam. This. And I was like, this is just not. And then about 2 or 3 days later, they emailed me again saying, "Hi, Sean. Like just to let you know, it's Beth. Like I haven't heard from you yet. Like it's this Sunday. It was like on a Wednesday or something like that. It was so I emailed them back and I was like, look, here's my number. I was like, if they ring me, then they're legit. Um, so I put my number down on the email, and then like 2 or 3 hours later, they literally rang me saying like, "Hi, it's Beth. Like, do you want to come down?" And I was like, "What?" Like, um, and then, but this is like, oh, this is around my birthday, so it was last November when they kind of like picked me up in a way. And I've never been to London before, so this is down in Shoreditch where this pop-up was, and I was just like, I'm going down on my own to like somewhere that I've never been before, and when it could be just an absolute con. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyways, I looked at the train tickets and it was like 80 quid for a return. And I was like, that's actually not even that bad. And I was like, you know what it is? If it's down there and it's nothing, I've got to be out of it. You know what I mean? So it was on a Sunday, got down there and went to Shoreditch. And then I was like, I got to this pop-up store and it was there, like great and stuff like this. And I was just like, whoa. And like, you know, Nathan McCallum, the Australian who does Gymshark.
And my yes, I think I know.
Small,
I'll know
small,
his fit.
small lads,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And you've got Elliot Burton as well. They were like standing outside,
yeah.
and I was like, what the hell? Like this is quite cool. This. Um, So I walked in and I was like, look, is Beth in? Like expecting to be like, who's Beth? Do you know what I mean? And then like some guy was like, oh, are you Sean? I was like, what? So and she was like, oh, she's literally just outside on the phone. And I was like, all right. So I walked out and she was like, give us a wave and whatnot. And she just like gives a hug and stuff, and she was like, nice to meet you and stuff. Like, I'm glad you've came. And I was like, oh, it's took us ages to come from Newcastle. And she was like, you came from Newcastle? She must have thought I was living in like London.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, like I've just took like a 3-hour train journey to come down here. And she's like, right, come with me now. And then there was like a, what do you call it, like a seminar type of thing. So Elliot and this guy called Nathan was like talking about the gym and whatnot and how to lift properly. And I was sitting there and I was like, I know, like, what am I doing here? Like, I know exactly what they're talking about, because obviously I do this for a living. So obviously Beth came up to us next, and I was like, oh, how did you find out? I was just like, oh, wait, like, if I'm not being honest, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I knew everything they were saying. I think it was I didn't say it was a waste of time, but I was just like, I kind of knew what he was talking about, and he's just like, oh, it's fine, but we just really wanted to come down. We want to talk to you. So they took us in a room and stuff like that, and they gave us loads of freebies and that, and we're like, look, we're really interested in the partnership if you want one. And I was like, it's like, right. So actually, to be fair, at the time, I was like, I'll think about it, because like obviously everything was just like, whoa, like,
yeah.
So I was just like, I'll give it a think and whatnot. So like, walked around London. But what was the funny part was like the seminar literally lasted about half an hour. So my train, I got there for 9 o'clock. The seminar wasn't until 1 o'clock. So I was walking around on my own for 4 hours. Lasted half an hour. My train wasn't 10 o'clock like on the evening. So I had another like 8 hours just by myself, and I was just like, "What am I doing here?" Like, oh, it was just so exhausting. Like, 'cause obviously I had no one there, so like socialize with. So I was just by myself, and my headphones died, and then I was just like, "What am I doing?" Like, so I've actually within that 8 hours, I just like messaged them on Instagram saying like, "Thanks for the opportunity and whatnot," and then they were like, "Look, are you really interested in this partnership?" And I was like, "Yeah." So they sent me like an online document thing to sign, and then yeah.
That's crazy how things like that happen, though.
Mental, like crazy.
Yeah,
I think it's the way you come across on social media. I think if you don't come across like you like the know-it-all, I think companies like that really take notice. Do you know what I mean?
yeah. I think if you come across as if you're generally trying to help people and give advice to people, the companies will naturally see that. That's why I think we talked about it right at the start, like being yourself and not trying to force yourself. Because in the fitness 100%. Industry, it is so easy to like go down the stereotypical route of like trying to be really exaggerated and enthusiastic on camera and stuff. And if you're not like that naturally, like one, it's going to be like hard to maintain long term, and two, like people are going to be able to see like what's this guy doing? Just completely be yourself. And I think people, especially with what the fitness industry is like now with YouTube and social media and everything, you can kind of people can actually buy into people's personalities, and your personality comes across, and it's almost if like people know you. Like I've been to like expos and stuff and met kind of the social media influencers that I looked up to, and then you speak to them, they're like, you're exactly like what you are in your videos and stuff like that. And then but then if you go and see someone else who maybe is being a bit fake, and then you go and speak to them and they're maybe a bit shady or a bit not like they are, then people are going to kind of catch on to that. So obviously fair play to yourself. You've obviously got the opportunity and you've seized it, to be fair. So serious question though, what's your favourite flavour grenade bar?
And they just released a new one. Well, the new one is strawberries and cream, but the one they released before that was salted caramel. I literally have boxes of that upstairs.
Is it the white chocolate?
No. So it's.
I haven't had the salt and caramel one. I haven't had that.
If you like Mars bars, they are literally the spitting double of a Mars bar. Like they don't even taste like a protein bar at all. Like absolutely amazing. Like you need to try them.
Yeah, I've bought a box. I've got a box of the white chocolate salted peanut ones.
Yeah.
Those peanut ones. They're up there. They're up there. I remember my point, so I quickly put it down in my notes. So you talked about before how like with your busy schedule, you're doing your PT in the morning, you were doing your 9 to 5, then you were doing PT at night time, and then training. And then obviously now you're not doing your 9 to 5 anymore, so you've got a bit more time to yourself being self-employed. Do you find it quite hard to kind of switch off? Do you feel that your brain's kind of maybe always active and thinking kind of thing, and maybe at night time or when you have that own downtime, you do find it hard to kind of switch off?
I always allow like a day to switch off, to like literally not do anything with social media or nothing. It's usually on a Sunday. But obviously at the start, I didn't have time to kind of sit back and do nothing. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, I just came from obviously I was earning like a decent amount of money this apprenticeship to like not having that at all. So I had to try and get that money back what I was earning there and my PT. So I kind of had no downtime at all. Obviously, I need to try and get my name out of there as much as possible. So I was quite new to like to the business or whatever. So then I was working absolutely non-stop. And then I went through a phase where I was like, I'm pretty happy. I was more focused on myself more than I was getting clients, you know what I mean? And then it got to about, I think, it might be in the start of this year where I was like, you know what it is, this year is going to be my year where I'm just going to crack on. So like every single day I've just been trying to like push my name out there as much as possible with social media. And then obviously COVID hit. And it's just hit, like it's just knocked back everything. But that's helped me a lot with social media, get my name out there. I don't know about yourself, but
yeah,
I feel like with social media, it's just absolutely skyrocketed up. And I find it hard to get clients around this time because obviously I feel like with outdoor PT it's not that great, but with the equipment that you've got, like it's good.
Yeah, I'm quite
like,
fortunate,
you know what I mean?
to be fair, yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like these PTs that have like no equipment, like they're finding it really hard. Do you know what I mean? But I haven't really pushed it. I've just kept with my same clients. But what I find with myself, I don't really put my clients much on my social media. It's just the way I kind of come across. Like I just want to have that for myself. I know I should be like kind of pushing it in a way, but to be fair,
I think some clients would actually like that though, to be fair.
Yeah, like if you were mine are quite like they're in like 30s and 40s, and I don't think they would like appreciate me doing that on social media. I was just like, but when you come in for a consultation, I always get them to sign saying, "Would you like an odd film done for you?" Do you know what I mean? Like, and if they say no, then I'm like, fine, like, fair enough. So I always get their permission if they want me to film them and stuff. So obviously the majority of the older ones go like, no. Do you know what I mean? Like they want to. Obviously they're paying X amount of money for me to train them in a private studio. Like they don't really want to be filmed and stuff. But my younger clients, they couldn't care. Like
yeah, I think the young ones like it. You know, I get like I've had a few young footballers. Oh, Brendan, can you send us that video? Or Brendan, can you send us that picture? Right. I'm just like, yeah, exactly. Don't worry.
Yeah,
they love it. So I think the way that you've kind of got it, I quite like how you kind of keep it to yourself, kind of thing. It's also like a little mystery because I think I'm probably bad for it in a sense that I kind of put a lot of information, like a lot of. It's not free. I enjoy doing it, which is why I keep doing it. But like a lot of free sessions. Whatever I train or what I train my clients, I always put in like what I've been doing with them. But I think it's kind of good, like you have to kind of have that element of like not mystery, but like you're not giving away kind of what you're doing, because then it's so easy for PTs and stuff. Like anybody could copy each other, which isn't a bad thing in a sense. I think if you copy something but kind of put your own spin on it, there's nothing wrong with that. But somebody could literally just be sitting on social media following you and just right, that's your session there. I'm going to do that with my clients tonight. Right, that's another session, and just going through them all kind of thing. Yeah. So I like kind of how you do that. But your social media is obviously grown quite a bit over lockdown. What have you been doing, like consciously kind of thinking about during this phase? I know we're kind of hopefully coming to the end of it. But in terms of social media, what have you been working on with yourself?
It's definitely the quality.
Yeah, you've been working with Joe a little bit, Joe Gray. I've seen he does some good content.
Just recently, to be honest, but I used to be a bit of a photographer myself. So like a lot of my content I've taught my mate how to do it. And then I've done all the editing. I mean, editing, I'll actually like put the contrast up and the clarity up a little bit just to sharpen it. That's pretty much all I do. But like with the videos and stuff, he's a better videographer than me now. But then I needed someone who like did everything like from scratch. So that's why I got in touch with Joe and I was like, look, mate, like just do your thing and stuff like that. So he came in like literally a few days ago, obviously, and then we're just kind of just did like a quarantine video in a way, and we'll just kind of let him do his thing and we're training and whatnot. So it was actually quite a nice bit of like normality in a way.
Yeah.
That's a good thing about private studios. You can go in and film, but if you're in a commercial gym, I find it quite hard because then you're going to have the permission off the gym for like members to allow like, so there's pros and cons about private gyms and commercial gyms. I think private gyms are a lot more expensive to work in. But with commercial gyms, you've got everyone coming in through the door. So you've got potential clients coming in every single day. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I don't like training in a commercial gym, so I didn't want to work in one. So
I know. That's the thing with me. Yeah. So like with mine, I just knew I needed a job straight away, and I literally just went into this gym, and I'm enjoying it, to be fair, because my first PT job. And I say to people, it's quite a good, especially if you're completely new to the personal like training industry, like, and you want to build a bit of confidence. Maybe you are forced into that scenario where you have to talk to people like, on my, so I do like 2 8-hour shifts, which I have to do. And you're forced to like do programs with people, inductions. You're forced to like speak to people one on one, and then you kind of build, like, learn how to build, like, get clients and build your confidence and stuff from that, which I've really enjoyed. Like, I think I could have went into like the private kind of the way that you have and done all right, but obviously I don't know that. But I think what I've learned through commercial gyms and stuff, especially being forced to do classes, and I quite enjoy the classes, which is why I probably want to go down like group training route down the line as well. Because I've been doing a bit like during lockdown with my clients, and just doing like small group stuff. So I've been enjoying that. But like I said, I think it's good that you can go down that route. And also, if you are in a commercial gym, like you mentioned before, you probably don't need to push, if you aren't big on social media and you're not that type of person who wants to like take pictures every so often or like be on the phone and editing stuff. If you're not really good at that, or you don't really enjoy that, then I think commercial gyms probably are the best way to go, because you pick up your clients face to face and word of mouth, rather than like, if you do go like the self-employed route, it probably is a little bit tougher. You have to be, I think realistically, you probably 75-80% of the time you probably have to have some sort of social media presence to kind of pick up your clients that way. But it's a saturated market now. It's a very saturated market. I think the more that you can do, the better.
That's why I'm trying to stand out. That's why I usually just tend to keep to myself. Like, as I say, I don't put anything with my clients on there unless it's like a transformation or it's like a nice like feedback or whatever like that. You know what I mean? But apart from that, like, I just try and just communicate with people on there. And to be fair, it's a sad world we live in now, like having to like go through Instagram and like people's pictures and comment on them, and like it's proper sad. I'm not gonna lie, but it works. That's the thing. It gets your name out there more. But I was gonna say something there and I forgot what I was gonna say.
I was gonna touch on like getting yourself out, like, because you started your YouTube now, haven't you? I've seen you started that a while ago. It's just weird talking to the camera. It's just, I found it sort of looking back. Like, I mean, I don't know how many videos I've done now, but I started mine literally 1st of January was my first video.
Yeah.
I was so awkward, like really awkward. I mean, I'm still not great now, but like that's another thing that kind of helps build your confidence and also put your name out there. So I've seen a few of your videos.
Just stepping out your comfort zone. Like, you need to take risks, and you need to step out your comfort zone to then be like, actually, this isn't too bad. But it's that like push of like someone. When I first started filming myself, like, my mate was like, as soon as that camera goes up in your face, you're like, you just like, and try not to say all the time, because you don't want to sound like you're just making it up. Like, you need to be like fluent all the time. So if you're just like like, people really notice that, but in your head you might not be thinking you're saying it. So when you look back, you're like, how many times did I just say M? And I feel like with me, it wasn't M, it was what was it, man? It was every video everyone was like, would you stop saying this? It was like,
I say like quite a bit, but talking about the M thing, do you know who TM Cycles is? Thomas Moore.
Yes,
He, I think in one of his podcasts, he talks about that. He literally, like, he's trained himself not to say M, because makes him sound like unintelligent. And the way he provides his service, he wants, like, if you watch his videos and the way that like his Instagram so set out, it's very kind of high quality. That's why he's kind of like, he wears like a lot of like designer gear and stuff like that. But he wants, if he says to himself, if I'm looking high quality, if I'm kind of presenting my way this sort of like high quality, high fashion way.
Just effort, isn't it?
Yeah. All my Instagram's clean, like my YouTube videos are clean, my editing's clean, kind of thing. Then he can sell a higher. I've just got an M there straight away. He can provide a higher cost product, like provide a higher cost service, I should say, for people to buy. So he can charge them higher prices. That's what his mentality was. Like, he's got his members site now and stuff with 1,500 plus people on it and stuff like that, but he's kind of built that, which I think works for a lot of people. Then there's other people like, I'm trying to think, Josh Bridgman, an example, he talks about it. He's not kind of going for that high cost. He's just going for like general, he just wants to try and himself kind of thing. Depends what type of person you are.
It's just wherever like you feel comfortable. So if you see someone like you look up to, you don't want to obviously say Christian Guzman, for example, like all his stuff is absolutely mint, but you might want to go through that. But if you don't enjoy that, then it's not going to work for you. Do you know what I mean? It might look good, but if you don't actually enjoy doing it, it's not going to work. So you need to find something that's going to fit your style. Do you know what I mean?
You can maintain,
I feel like if you put too much effort in, I think it's very noticeable. because you put too much into it and you're just like, what the hell's going on? So I'll just keep mine dead simple and just dead eye catching. So the website I've just done now, have you seen my website or not?
Yeah, I think
So
it's decent, mate. It's decent.
yeah. So I've just updated it again. So it's just nice and simple and it's just eye catching. There's nothing like in your face or nothing like that. You know what I mean? It's just dead easy to go through. That's just the type of style I do. See, with my photos and stuff, I don't put too much on them. I just make them as realistic as I
Yeah,
can.
that's what I went. I've kind of went. Don't you notice? I've kind of went with like the black and white theme because that's just me. Literally, if
Yeah.
it's weird me wearing grey. To be fair, this is a weird colour for me. But I'm literally just black and white. That's just me. I don't really put a lot of colour. Literally, all I wear is literally gym clothes that are going to be black or white or maybe grey. That's probably as far as I go. But like you said, just be yourself, and it's also kind of. It's your own sort of identity in a way, and if you're trying to be someone that you're not, then that identity you're not going to be able to maintain it. And like you said before, if there's something that you enjoy, you're probably going to be able to maintain it for a longer period rather than putting all this effort and working so hard on something. Then you're probably going to burn yourself out as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're not enjoying something, like I don't really see the point in doing it if you don't. Like, there's going to be times like that you might not want to do something so much, but once you do it, you're going to be like, right, I knew why I did that. I feel good for doing it. So, some good topics there. So we'll wrap up. We'll finish off with the 3 questions which I've sent over to you. So, first question: 3 people that you would like to invite round for dinner or coffee. I mean, we briefly spoke before the start of the podcast. You said, I don't want to invite everybody round for dinner.
So, is this celebrity or is this like
this can
normal
be
people in
anybody
you know what I mean?
in the world, past or present as well. I should have put on the notes, past or
so
present.
Number one would be definitely Guzman because I think he's got such a good work ethic, good work ethic. I can't even say it. But yeah, you know what I mean.
That one.
Just like business terms and just like his overall attitude, I think it'd be really good. And just I learn a lot from him, just the way like business terms. So just talking to him for like an hour, 2 hours, I would just learn so much. And just kind of obviously he inspires me a lot to what I do now. I watch his videos constantly. Do you know what I mean? So there's him, probably Ross Edgley. Just the way his attitude is as well. He's happy all the time, and I surround myself with people who are happy. Do you know what I mean? Like I keep my close mates to myself. That's it. Like I literally got one mate that I keep close to constantly. Like I would trust him with like my bank deals. Do you know what I mean? Like I just like you always got to have that like person that you really trust. Apart from that, I just kind of keep to myself. And then number 3, oh man. I'm trying not to pick celebrities in a way because, like,
it's got to be one.
What have I said? So there's Christian Guzman, Ross Edgley. Oh, I don't know, man. This is hard. This is a hard question on the spot.
I know. To be fair, like, you can pick anybody. You can pick like your dad if you want. If you want to have another conversation with your dad over dinner, then you can.
I'll probably say my grandma and granddad because obviously I haven't seen them in a very long time. So just spend some like just quality time with them too. I know that's 2, but yeah.
Hey, they come with. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. I know it's crazy. Like what lockdown's done. Like I think it's brought like me closer to my family and everybody and it kind of shows what like you talked about not having like loads of friends, just having like kind of 1 or 2 that are really close to you. I feel like this period's kind of shown that, and maybe the ones that you connected to and stayed in touch with. And maybe supported you a little bit more.
I was going to say it shows that the people who do care of you have actually got in touch with you through this time. I feel like the people that you think cared about you haven't actually spoke to you since. Like, you know what I mean? So it just shows actually who does care about you. Do you know what I mean? That's what I've found with this lockdown.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Definitely. Once you surround yourself with people who are like same mentality, same kind of passions and stuff, you're only going to grow as well because they're only going to push you. So that's a good 4 good people there. So I have to change it to 4 people. But next one, we'll go 3 people who you'd want to train with.
So as I say, going back to Guzman, there's that one. I would say Seabum, so Chris Bumstead, absolute monster. Like he's like the type of physique that I want to go for, is like the classic physique because he's tall, small waist, and I think I would learn like even just for like an hour training with him. I think it'd be absolute goals. But like so you've got like Guzman who's like the business side. I would train with Seabum for like the training side of it. And then probably to train with probably someone who doesn't do the same stuff I do. So like I'm more like the bodybuilding type thing. So same like person like yourselves, like the football kind of style training,
Yeah.
and like explosiveness. Like I quite like that. So going back to like my tennis days, it's obviously it's very explosive, on your toes all the time, and like the athletic kind of style. So I'll probably pick you, mate. So I
Oh, mate,
fight your
I'm
train with
touched. Me and Seaman, me, you, Seaman, and Guzman, what a session that would be. I'd love to see,
Yeah,
I'd love to see like Bumstead do like an EMOM or something, or like some like box jumps, and then going into like, I don't know, like assault bike, absolutely killing. I'd love
oh,
to.
260 pounds doing a box jump.
Yeah, I
Absolutely
know.
not.
But to be fair, Guzman and Seaman are probably the two most picked people, and Arnold. I think are probably they're like the
Yeah,
top ones that people that pick. So
yeah,
some session to have with them
yeah.
too. So the last one would be one thing that you'd say to yourself 5 years ago.
Do something that you want to do straight away. So if you have something in your mind that you want to do, don't wait on it. So like I said at the start of the video, waiting for the money. I had money there, but I just didn't want to spend that money. And then like right now I could have been maybe 2 or 3 years more experience in the PT. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think just taking the risk and just go for it, especially when you're living at home. Just do it. Like, don't think about it, because you're just gonna be miserable in the same job. And what's the point? And if you're gonna leave anyway, what's the point of being there for another 2 or 3 years? Like, I think so. I'd probably say that.
Exactly, mate. Solid advice. So just to finish off, do you want to shout out your social media, where people can find you, your website and stuff as well?
Yeah, so everything's just Sean Evans PT. So my website, seanevanspd.co.uk. My Instagram is just Sean Evans PT, and then Facebook it'll be just Sean Evans PT. pretty easy.
Yeah, you've got a discount code for Grenade Deer as well, because to be fair, I should have used that for Grenade bars. I've been stupid, I haven't used it.
25% off.
There you go.
Great. So
bulk buy them. Get them bulk buy now. But mate, that was a brilliant episode. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah. First one. There we go.
I know, mate.
I feel like the more I got into it, the more it was all right. At the start, I was like,